All right, next up we have University of Washington. They're just across the bridge, for those of us who don't get out of the east side. The professor is Axel Rosser. Are you around somewhere? I don't see you. Right there waving his hand. And George Peshnik is the liaison somewhere here also. Not waving. Oh, there he is. He waved his hand really fast. Anyway, just want to welcome University of Washington.
Hi.
See you guys.
My name is Leslie, and these are my teammates, Anthony and Simon. And we are team cellmates. Our fourth team member, Geoff, wasn't able to be here today, but we will carry on. So we chose cell phones as our tool to combine education and technology. We started about thinking, what kind of applications can we put on a cell phone that would help educate its user? But then we thought, this isn't innovative or unique. So we thought, what if the cell phone itself was a learning tool? So instead of learning from using your cell phone, you'd be learning about your cell phone. This is when we started to think about having teens as our target audience. So young teens, specifically aged 12 to 16. We saw huge potential for this age range because over 60% of teens have cell phones, and that number is only growing. Our solution was Project EMU, which stands for Educational Monetary Utility. It's a cell phone service plan that teaches teens how to manage resources. So in this case, we're talking about cell phone minutes, but resources in real life are often in the form of money, right? All right, so at its core, EMU is a cell phone plan that teaches teens how to save their money by emulating a savings account at a bank. So users start out with 100 weekly minutes. We chose weekly minutes as our time period because we thought it would be better for teens with shorter attention spans. So any of these unused minutes will go into a savings account where they can gain interest off the minutes. So in this way, they can work their way up to a 200-minute-a-week plan just from the interest they're gaining off the minutes in their savings account. So you're not just learning money management skills, you're also learning responsible behavior. So it's obvious from our problem of debt in America that we don't really know how to manage our finances that well. The average household credit card debt is over $8,000, and 30% of teens report that their parents have never or rarely talked to them about savings or investing. So there's an obvious need for this form of education. EMU takes a learn-by-doing approach, so the learning's really up to the user, but they stand to gain a lot if they learn how to manage their minutes and be responsible with their cell phones. So Anthony's going to come up and explain one scenario where a user has the EMU plan and kind of what happens from the day-to-day.
Thank you, Leslie. All right, so let's meet Tanya here. Tanya is a 16-year-old student who epitomizes a socially adept scenester with a couple of 100 MySpace friends. Burgeoning with independence, Tanya strikes it out on her own by purchasing a brand new cell phone. Her slightly concerned parents suggest that she sign up for the EMU plan, their solitary offer of advice after they cut the strings. Just to give you some perspective, Tanya, like 26% of teenagers in America, check for a text message or send one in less than 10 minutes after waking up in the morning. Today, students between the ages of 12 to 16 are immersed in a constant state of communication via email, movie gatherings, instant messages, parties, personal blog posts, and most importantly, cell phones. As one editor put it, cell phones are so deeply integrated in students' lives that the phones are extensions of their identities. So here you can observe the EMU interaction screen on Tanya's phone. From this point, she can access her new account and discover the ways that EMU can be highly beneficial in keeping an accurate track of her minutes. EMU simulates a very powerful savings account program. The minutes that Tanya doesn't use enters the savings account where it gains interest. Also, as you can see here, Tanya can keep track of her account through the phone account page. The minute meter indicates that Tanya is currently in the green zone, which means Tanya is using her allotted weekly minutes at a responsible level. But unfortunately, Tanya is a victim of habit. Because of this behavior, Tanya slides into the yellow zone, a phase that indicates the depletion of all allotted weekly minutes. Tanya continues to use her minutes frivolously. She doesn't notice that the minutes she initially saved in her savings account are now gone. And at this point, Tanya has used up all her minutes. This puts her in the red zone, limiting her to making only emergency phone calls and phone calls to her parents. Of course, frustration ensues. However, without EMU, Tanya may have built up a bigger bill. EMU exists to provide a learning model illustrated by the aforementioned scenario. Interestingly, Tanya's parents aren't in the picture. They don't have to play the unappreciated cop role. After completing a full week in the red zone, Tanya's minute meter returns to orange. Now she's back to calling whomever she likes. Her minutes are still fixed, but the experience is definitely an educational one. So in the end, Tanya adopts a more responsible approach in communicating with her friends. Now Simon will give you an in-depth look at the inner workings of EMU.
All right. The EMU phone plan has a comprehensive set of rewards that the users can unlock. After learning from her mistakes, Tanya wants to figure out how to get these rewards, so she logs onto the website. Here is the intro screen that explains what features are available on the website. Then it puts her on the status screen that she normally sees on her cell phone. However, there are many more features available on the website. For example, the website incorporates an innovative system for users to access information by using an interactive character located in the bottom right-hand corner that instructs and answers any questions. The EMU character eliminates the need for an index or help system and is a streamlined guide in the learning process. It works very similar to a chatbot. At any time, a user may query the EMU about any topic within the realm of banking, cell phones, or other related fields. Studies involving children have shown that programs making use of multimodal interfaces, that is, keyboard, mouse, and voice, all working together, are superior for learning. Also, there is a negative stigma with traditional education. The EMU program bypasses the stigma by communicating with the user through an informal vernacular and a personality which the user can explore. The EMU bounces back witty answers to personal questions such as, what is an EMU? Or what is your favorite color? The EMU is a more powerful tool than simply an interactive help menu. This tool can gather data, point to information on graphs, and elaborate on those facts and figures. Here is a situation in which the user has queried about their recent activity, and the EMU processes the query and brings up a relevant graph. Other teaching aids and tutorials rely on the user to read large bodies of text and navigate through keywords embedded within the text. Our system is more dynamic by stimulating the user to ask questions. Tanya continues to explore the website and really dive into statistics. This display allows her to quickly see where she's allocating her minutes. People who appear larger and are closer to her are people she talks to the most. This graph shows the history of her savings account. It also utilizes the color-coded zone system. For example, yellow bars are decreases in her savings. Also, at any time, she can ask a question at the bottom of the screen to the EMU if she has any questions. Rewards are a significant part of the EMU phone plan. This screen allows Tanya to see what she has achieved and what milestones lay ahead. Even when she has reached the cap of 200 weekly minutes, she still has to save up and has a goal of reaching unlimited text messages. The program is designed to always keep it challenging. Here is the corresponding screen that would allow her to also view all of her new rewards on her cell phone. Rewards are not limited to minutes and text messages. She can also get wallpapers, ringtones, and games. And the list goes on. Here she has finally amassed enough minutes to get a brand new cell phone.
Okay, after talking to representatives from Windows Mobile and AT&T, we learned that there's really nothing out there like what we've developed. There's over 18,000 cell phone applications on the market right now, and most of those are targeting users for entertainment purposes. So also, after talking to companies and users, we thought of some innovative ideas we'd like to integrate in the future. One notable idea would be a system of borrowing and lending. So if a user were stuck in the red zone, they could borrow minutes from their friends. Another idea was investing your minutes on a stock market or having a variable interest rate based on credit score, just to keep it challenging for our older market. So the current paradigm of teenage cell phone use is parents will get their teens a cell phone just to keep in contact with them, but never teach them how to be responsible cell phone users. And learning how to manage your resources, whether it's cell phone minutes or money, is something that's not often taught, as evidenced by the fact that we have a big problem with debt in America. And we believe that EMU could solve that problem. So in conclusion, we think that EMU will not only eliminate the surprise cell phone bill, but it'll also teach teens a skill that they can carry with them through life. Thank you.
I really like the idea in how you've combined some of the business angles, the design angles, and the technology all together into it. I also like the idea that you had of more gaming, where I think you know, kids like gaming because there's always a tougher challenge, the next level that you can go to, and that keeps them engaged rather than getting over it. I also liked how, you know, some of the business intelligence in several of the applications, it's both educational yet engaging and fun, which is important. So many great aspects in it. I'm curious, as you talk to, you know, Windows Mobile, or if you think of AT&T and Verizon, did you explore the business angles more and say, you know, this is why they want to do it, or, you know, they'd be excited about it?
Well, I did actually the research on that, and I could have delved even further, but the people that I talked to, they were more like representatives, like they were salespeople. So I guess that was my fault, not actually going and seeing, you know, the business side, actually.
Yeah. Thank you.
So coming later in the sequence, it's really interesting how there's this theme about different ways for intimate, tangible objects to help bridge with these things that are sensitive to the means of delivery. And so I think the skill sets and so on that are here actually are really sensitive. I just want to say I think your insights are really interesting, that preventing the parents nagging, but I'm the author of my own fortune and misfortune, and how I can develop that without being exposed as a jerk or, is actually not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And,
go ahead.
And then it's on the range of the pragmatic, and I think it's in one sense obvious once it's seen, but it's my favorite kind of innovation, which is surprising obviousness.
Yeah. That was a big goal, was to not take away consequences with some sort of unlimited plan, but still not always make the parents have the job of teaching their kids, because it's not happening as we learned. So, yeah.
Audience? Patrick. That would be you. Yeah.
This really, it breaks my heart to watch that, because maybe this is conspiracy theory in my head, but could it be that the phone companies really don't want this to happen?
There's a good chance of that.
So the question is...
That's what we were thinking too.
When I'm in Europe, the fact that I sometimes pay $1.20 per minute, sometimes $2.70, I have no understanding of when I run over my minutes. This would be trivial for the phone companies to add, right? I mean, this feature that you're thinking about. So I think what I want to challenge you, if we just assume for a second that the phone companies are absolutely against you because they're making millions of dollars every month of the non-existence of this feature, how do you come up with a plan that you can trade in with the phone companies to actually make them adopt this model?
Yeah. It's definitely difficult, because it is to their advantage.
Yes.
So.
Like my bank gets $50 if I run over and I don't have time. It's actually part of it, you know.
Yeah. So I think.
Yes, has wonderful shows on. It explains all the details.
Yeah, I think what it would come down to would be some smooth talking with the cell phone companies, because it isn't to their advantage, really. But
the only thing that that I thought of that could persuade them is that if you do think about it, these kids would start out with a limited plan, and so they'd be paying the same rate the entire time. And it was only once they worked their way up. So essentially, if they have bad habits and forget to pay, you know, it's essentially they still get, you know, penalized and aren't using as many minutes. So if the cell phone companies are concerned about, you know, how many minutes they're using and, like, in terms of the bandwidth or, you know, clogging the lines, I mean, if they're still going to be taking advantage of the, like, natural human instinct to, you know, to not always pay attention and until they finally learn and beat the system, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys. Great project.